trying to be live. Well, here we are again, darling.
Yes, my dear.
Yes. Hello, everybody. It's the Wednesday edition of the Mike Meyers Ask Mike Anything live stream. The goal of this live stream is to provide those of us who are isolated by the coronavirus an opportunity to continue our studies for CompTIA certifications.
Excellent.
Joining me today for the last time is Scott Jernigan. He's moving on to the Ukraine. Oh, you weren't supposed to know that, were you? No, everything's fine, Scott.
Really?
No, it's all
okay.
Good. Do you like blue and yellow?
Blue and yellow is great. Especially light blue and yellow.
There we go.
The fact that I got that reference, of course.
It's because you're a very clever guy.
Yeah. Well, there it is.
What do you got there?
Dave says sound is good. Sound is great. Baby, don't you hesitate. So, thank you, Dave. Appreciate it.
Oh, God, he really did that, too.
He did. Absolutely.
Eric's pretty sure he can take Bigfoot in a fist fight. That's mighty strong talk from a one-eyed fat man. Fill your hand. All right, well, anybody, here's how this works. I'm Mike Meyers. This is Scott Jernigan. You type questions into the live chat. If you're on the right-hand side of your YouTube there, if it says top chat, you might want to change that. Make sure it says live chat. And you type questions in there, and we will answer them for you. Also, if you're the shy type, feel free to contact me directly. My email is michaelm@totalsem.com. If you're a gamer, I'm Senor Pepe on Steam. And other than that, I'm Desweds on just about everything. So if you're actually curious about my private life, type in Desweds. Yes, I've checked thoroughly. I made it to page 8, and I was like, yeah, I think we're okay here.
We're okay. So you should practice what you preach and flip your chat to live chat also.
I did have it set to live chat. Why did you change it?
I snuck over and grabbed your mouse.
I'm a victim. Who said we can't talk about politics? That's all I want to talk about anymore.
That's all I talk about outside of this live stream.
Yeah, I know, because this is just okay. This is
the other thing that we do, the 3 little dots. You can turn on the timestamp, and
in your chat window.
In your chat window, and while we're going through reading questions, we'll mention the time so you can see that if you posted a question, whether we've skipped it or whether we just haven't gotten to it yet. We're always lagging a little behind the live chat. Keep it PG in live chat.
And no one will get hurt.
And no religion and politics. Any other question goes.
That's pretty much how it goes. All right. So anyway, basically we do have a topic to cover tonight. Man, is Teacher Russell on?
Not yet.
All right, because I literally did. This is I'm finally ready to talk about trim in detail. I found my old presentation on it and tweaked it up a little bit. It's very nice. And
totally looking forward to it.
So we're going to definitely be covering trim today. So got that. I'm going to go ahead and start. Scott, I'm going to jump in. We had some early questions. XY back at 12:53 p.m. 12:53?
Wow. 12:53.
So someone got in over an hour early. XY, welcome aboard. Always glad to have you. Apple's M1 chip. What does it mean for the industry? I have an opinion. You got an opinion?
I have a lot of opinion.
Give me a good opinion or an interesting opinion.
The M1 chip is going to, and already has, revolutionized portable computing in dramatically increasing performance,
while at the same time
life.
Reducing power.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
It's amazing.
I finally got to play with a Mac Mini that had the M1.
Yeah.
And it had like 8 gigs of RAM. And the guy's like, here, let me load, what did he load? It was like half of the Adobe Creative Cloud suite into this thing. I'm like, this is impossible, you know?
Right.
And it did. I mean, I'm not going to say we didn't make it work for a living. It wouldn't have been like, doing it on one of our big 32 or 64 gigabyte systems we have over at Total Seminars. Right. But it did impress me the amount of programming it could load and run.
And what also is fascinating to me and is that, in fact, I was having this discussion with a friend of mine who's looking at buying a new Apple laptop, and she's an artist, And she was afraid that going with an M1 would cause her Creative Suite not to work because of compatibility issues. So she was looking at buying a previous generation MacBook running Intel. But it turns out that the emulation, because the M1's an ARM chip, right? Not a x86 or x64. So it's an ARM chip, but the emulation that Apple's developed for it runs x86 software faster than the
I
replacement.
seem to remember hearing something like that as well.
Yeah, just it's stunning, the technology.
The M1 chip has RAM built into it. What are the implications? I don't think the M1 has RAM built into it.
It's the same as your iPhone or your iPad. Certainly, it's a single system on a chip.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Really? So the M1 has, it's a system on a chip.
Yeah. So yeah, I have strong opinions on the M1, Mike.
I have to test you. I got to check you. Sorry, guys. Good, great, googly moogly, it is. It's your Scott. Somebody write down the date and time. Scott Jernigan was right. Look at that. It is. It's a plain old. It's an SoC.
So much of the industry over the past 10 years, I guess, once the focus got on creating smartphones and the technology like dove into perfecting smartphones, that same technology has gradually made it into bigger systems, and I think it's great.
8 gig and 16 gigabytes configurations. Huh, all right.
Yep.
Cool. Thanks, God. Eric Killingsworth. Are IoT devices turning into Decepticons? Probably.
Decepticon?
I can't name a Decepticon.
I don't even know what a Decepticon is.
Wow, really?
Hey,
you
I
never
knew
had
it-
a you
I
never
knew
had
it-
had a truck that turned into a robot?
No. Those are Transformers.
Robots in disguise. The Decepticons were the bad Transformers.
Oh. Well, there you go.
There you go. So yeah, if my smart camera turns into a little robot. Good thing we're in Texas. Pow, pow. Alan's here. Andrew Hutz is here. Daniel Mackay is here. Tolwood, of course. Jason Helms. What's happening, folks? Maven Feliciano. I'm looking for questions. Eric, I'm pretty sure I can take Bigfoot in a fist fight. That is literally going to be my next password phrase.
I like it.
I'm totally going to steal that. So you guys will be able to break into any of my stuff.
I'm going to use the sound is good, sound is great, baby, don't you hesitate.
I can take Bigfoot in a fist fight! Exclamation point.
There you go.
Password 123. Sideow's back. Good to see that. Dave, not Michigan colors? What do you mean? David Rush speaks in code sometimes.
I think they must be blue and yellow. I didn't go to Michigan, so.
Oh, that's right. Blue. Hail, Michigan. Just go.
So at 202, Keisha mentioned, hello everyone, I finally figured out that darn Active Directory and was able to join my Windows 10 Enterprise. Good for you.
Well, Keisha, let me guess. Did you finally get the static? The problem with Windows Server, and it seems to only happen in virtual machines, is that you can configure a static IP address for your server,
Right.
and then it go away and do anything else,
And it'll flip to dynamic?
and it goes right back to dynamic.
That would not make your world happy.
It's true. But Keisha, I'm glad it's working for you. Monique, hello from Texas. Well, hello from Texas, right back at you. I can see the timestamp toggle. Thanks. Ooh, that's another one. That could be a pass race.
That's a good one. Delivered it.
Timestamp toggle tanks.
Timestamp toggle Texas.
Tanks! Exclamation point.
Exclamation point.
Because that'll fool all the rainbow tables, right?
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Apparently, absolutely is my word of the day.
Absolutely. CLW Chang's in. Hey, CLW Chang, remember when we did, was that last week?
Hey, no. Well, go ahead.
Remember last week when we did the whole digital signatures thing?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I'm literally going to repaint my presentation.
And do it again?
No. I'm going to use what we had.
Oh.
We did.
You mean
Once
the
again,
Network
you guys need to understand how often you guys are guinea pigs for stuff that eventually makes it into the mainstream products.
So we're currently...
Like today's presentation on trim, which will
make it into the next A+.
Probably.
Not Net Plus, though.
No, not Net
Right.
Plus.
So, Jason Helms at 203 said, "Hey, Uncle Mike and Scott and Dave, I appreciate y'all more than y'all realize. I literally just 30 minutes ago passed my Core 1.
Yeah.
And now on to Core 2. Awesome.
Well
That's
done,
great,
man.
Jason.
That is great, Jason. Well done, sir. Andrew Hutz got himself a Galaxy S21 for $120. S21 for $120? Is that a good deal?
I don't know. I don't even know what an S21 is. Is that some Android thing?
Yeah, it is. It's a special Android thing that gives you free money.
Sweet.
Most Android devices, we just don't tell the Apple people that because,
I see.
they want to stay deep in the bosom of Abraham there.
I love my Apple ecosystem.
Oh, God.
All my iOS devices play well together.
Spell boy for me. Is it B-O-I by any chance? Yipe. So again, seriously, Jason, congratulations to you. Andrew, I think that's a pretty good deal for an S21. I've got one myself upstairs someplace. One of my spare phones. Well, that's the other thing. If you buy Android, you can afford more than one phone.
But if you buy Apple, you only need one phone.
Or yours can fold open. Enjoy that $1,000 stand there, buddy.
Hey man, worth every encrusted diamond on it.
All right, so guys, basically here's how this works. I mean, the goal here is that we call this Ask Mike Anything because you need to ask me questions. So you ask me questions either through the live chat or by sending me a text. Sending me an email. And so I'm on until the questions run out. It feels like kind of a quiet day here in AMA land.
So far, it's a quiet day. And we're kind of stalling on the trim presentation because Teacher Russell has specifically asked for it several times. So kind of hoping he or she would get on.
William Jeske, he's a Robotech man. You just dated yourself there, William. Robotech. I do remember Robotech. Andrew Hutz. Mike, did my friend reach out to you about coming on the show? Nope, Andrew, I've not received any contact yet, but I'm looking forward to it. 209, Daniel Micaiah. I have some good news. I had an interview with Microsoft yesterday for the data center tech position, and the HR lady was quite happy with me. I found it this weekend. Fingers crossed for you, Daniel.
That's awesome, Daniel.
Data center technician. We need you to take these 300 1U boxes.
Build up your muscles. That's all I have to say.
Do you have some way to put Linux on all of these at once? Yeah.
No, I think that's great.
That is great. Yeah, you'll definitely enjoy the 60-hour weeks there, though, Daniel. Patrick Valis. I took a big break from this channel due to addiction.
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty, we understand.
What do you mean? I have no idea about addiction to video games.
What do you run? 40-man raid, 3:30 in the morning. You're falling asleep at the keyboard, waiting for two more. We just need one more tank. We need one more off tank. He's a paladin. Take him. Nobody lets paladins be taken. Or what was the dark? World of Warcraft. The character people that were the Death Knights.
Oh yeah.
And every Death Knight thought they could be a tank, and they was like, "Oh, it's not a good idea." And then invariably some priest would come in and tank. Was that one?
And
that was always terrifying to me.
the Druid tanks, those rocked.
Yeah, they were just bears.
Bears.
Yeah. everybody's like, why don't you stop talking about the gaming, the MMORPGs of our forefathers, you know? How you doing on Fortnite there, buddy?
Getting my bottom wallet.
Yeah, I got on there. They start building these walls. I'm like, what? Exit. Go back to Arma 3 and try to figure out how to fly an A-10.
All right, sounds good.
Oh boy, they make great. That's those 30 millimeters in Arma 3. And you can literally call in support, and there's really a person flying the A-10. And you'll be like, okay, we got to give them the right coordinates. And you're like, that was great.
Nice.
Patrick, Eric Killingsworth at 210. Mike! Exclamation point. A month ago I came on here to thank you for being the reason I got an A+ and A+. Yep, okay. You got hired. Ah, dude, Eric. Way done. Round of applause. Well done, man. That's what we're here for. Get work, all right? Alex Campo just got my A+ in Security Plus thanks to your courses. Working on Net Plus now. Get a job, Alex.
That's great, Alex.
Alex is probably, well, I already have a job paying $175,000 a year.
But I'm just getting my certifications because they're cool.
And then we like hanging out with hip, fat guys like you, Mike. I keep, Keisha's talking to Maven Feliciano. Maven, I see Jose Feliciano. I just want to sing Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Come on, sing with me. No, I don't do that. Scott has a voice like a sailor. It dies at sea.
There you go.
Tolowit, the Apple ecosystem is rotten to the core.
Okay, that's funny. Not true, but funny.
Ray Ozine, good afternoon from Toronto. Toronto's a nice town. They have black squirrels.
Black squirrels?
The squirrels are black.
That's very weird.
We have gray squirrels here in Texas.
Right.
Toronto, they're black, and they've got like tufts.
Antlers?
No, I'm telling Reza, back me up. Open up a browser, type in squirrels in Toronto.
Must I?
Andrew Hutz. Mike, is there any reason to use a Visionaire cipher for anything, or is it completely obsolete like the Caesar? It's obsolete. And the only reason I even bring up Visionaires is, well, I believe that there's actually an objective for it, right?
Yeah.
But the other thing is that Visionaires is a really good way to introduce people into the concept of a key, right? Because a Visionaire is just a Caesar's black squirrels, told you. So Visionaires is just it's a Caesar cipher, but it changes, right? Based on whatever letter's up. So I like teaching it because it gets the idea of algorithm and key across.
Right.
And then, and if you're using my stuff, we do Caesars quickly, do Visionaires, which is a basic and advanced Caesars, and then we go straight into.
We have the book right in front of you. You can look.
Come on, I remember what I'd write in the damn God blessed book. What do I do next?
I don't know. I edited it too, and I don't remember.
1 blank 0 equals 0. 0 blank 1.
XOR.
XOR, thank you. Because if you do Visionaires and you go to XOR, then the concept of algorithm and key makes sense.
Sure.
Well, I think a lot of people, when you hear the word key, especially when you're first learning about security, and you just think it's a password.
Sure.
And I'm not saying that keys can't be derived from passwords. They can be, but, it makes more sense if you separate it, because then doing things like learning about salts, any kind of key stretching, bcrypt, or anything like that makes more sense to me. So that's why I still do Visionaires. See, you guys, everybody has something that they're passionate about talking about. My great passion is adult IT learning theory. I could talk all day about how does a person learn and understand something, right?
Right.
Well, you and I talk about this all the time.
Right.
Scott and I often find ourselves coming to blows over, this transitional element makes no sense. Once he starts calling me Meyers and I start calling him Jernigan, Somebody's throwing down. I'm starting to pull his jersey over his head. But the moment I hear that stuff.
That's all true, by the way.
It is true. It's absolutely true. But it's fascinating. Well, I would like to think. I don't know. It seems to me there's two kinds of IT authors out there today. There's the nerds who know everything so much better than I would ever know that I don't even want to try to go against them. But I can't make out anything they're saying, right?
Right.
And then there's the other ones who are like, adult learning theory. Hi, I'm Timmy. I'm Clippy the Clip Art, you know? And it's like, yeah.
So Andrew confirmed that the newest Samsung phone that he picked up for, what did he say?
$1.20.
Yeah, runs 800. So that was a good deal.
Yeah, I was going to say that
A
seems
really good deal.
it's missing a screen, but you know.
And sadly, it runs
Android. My problem is it's got the little thing, or it's got a propeller. Okay, can we move on, please?
Yeah, we can move on. Let's move on.
We're at 2:14. Good God. Andrew Hutz, can you briefly go over the difference between symmetric and asymmetric key encryptions? I decided Monday to try and bang out the security plus before the 5.0 retires. Okay, good move.
Yeah, because you got a couple months.
Sure, it's
you
easy.
You can do this.
Symmetric encryption means you use the same key to encrypt or decrypt. I've got a wonderful video on that in the Security Plus 501 that you can get on TotalSub.com or Udemy or wherever you pick this stuff up. That really goes through things like DES and AES, triple DES, RC4. So these are all symmetric encryptions, which basically means whatever chunk of code you use to encrypt it is the same chunk of code you use to decrypt it. The problem with symmetric algorithms is that if one person makes the key, they got to get the key to the other person.
Right.
And that's the danger to them. And how do you get that key to them?
Securely.
Right. So the alternative to symmetric is asymmetric. Asymmetric lives on the concept of key pairs. And you generate a key pair using some kind of key generation methodology, whatever that might be. And then you hand out one key, which is known as a public key, which is traditionally the key that is used to encrypt. So if I want Scott to send me encrypted things, I'm going to throw him my public key. He encrypts his email or his web page or whatever it is and sends it back to me, and then I decrypt it using the other key. So symmetric means one key encrypts and decrypts. Asymmetric means one key encrypts and a different key decrypts, but these keys are generated at the same time.
That was nice, Mike. In a nutshell.
I should start teaching for a living or
You know,
something.
that's
I know, it's crazy
what
talk.
a thought.
Just stop it.
Thought. Yeah.
Kevin Lopez, I've been addicted to a dinosaur role-playing game called The Isle. What was that
I haven't played it.
What was that sandbox game? Oh, you can tame dinosaurs in it. What's that game you play?
Conan Exiles.
Conan. So it's kind of like that. Here, in about 30 seconds, there'll be like 12 people who type in their name of this game.
Oh, Choco Taco. Yeah. Leroy Jenkins.
Leroy Jenkins. What? Where did this come from? Jonathan, can 220?
Oh, you jumped, man.
Did I jump?
Yeah,
Okay,
you missed several questions.
All right, I'm spinning back. Help me out, man.
215, Saidu Kone. Question. My newly installed printer is not working and is offline. There is an HP OfficeJet Pro. This is an HP OfficeJet Pro. There's a drop-down menu for each of the following. I'm assuming there's a follow-up question here. Uh-oh. Looking for the follow-up question, or the follow-up comment.
Well, I just don't like any of the inkjet printers anymore. That's one thing.
I'm not seeing the follow-up.
All right, well, anytime you want to diagnose a printer, you go
Okay.
through the same process every time.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to assume, first of all, if it's a network printer, install it locally somehow. Okay, pretty
Right.
much all of any printer can be installed locally through USB. Okay,
Okay.
and what you're doing there is you just take the whole network window out of the
And especially-
diagnostic issue
right,
initially,
especially
right?
the wireless network.
Yeah, or if it's RJ45. But yeah, wireless could be a problem there too. So plug the thing in directly. Make sure you can get it up to print. If you can't see a printer via a USB interface, you have a major problem. And that particular, I don't like that particular printer at all. It's one of those little cheapy $170 inkjets. You know, just go out and for the same amount of money, go buy yourself a Samsung LaserJet printer.
Right.
You know, get a laser printer. Inkjet is, unless you're doing color,
Right.
real color, and I'm not talking CMYK. I'm talking, you've seen these inkjets that have like 8 cartridges,
Right.
8 colors, and all that.
And
I
for
just
high quality photo printing. I mean, absolutely.
sure, but other than that, you know, especially if it's black and white, and I bet you nickel it is. Go with a laser. They're cheap and easy. Okay. Saidu, we'll keep watching for you though.
So 215.
Oh no, yeah, Siegfried. You play World of Warcraft? I've been playing since vanilla beta.
We actually missed the vanilla beta because we were playing EverQuest when World of Warcraft came out.
I thought he meant classic.
Vanilla, as in like
The original 2004 rollout.
right. And
No, we missed that. We were we came up at Burning Crusade, right?
No. We got it. We were in vanilla. Don't you remember going through Stranglethorn Vale and
You
getting
could go
our
through Stranglethorn Vale
bottoms
no matter what your
creamed
thing was.
by gorillas?
Yeah, but we were playing EverQuest, and I was just amazed that you could play World of Warcraft and not have those horrible loads between zones.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've got a human mage on Blackwater Raiders at 120. Has it gone up since then?
I don't know. I stopped and went back to classic.
I went back to classic too. It got silly where you roll up a character and you could be in the middle of Elmwood Forest or whatever the heck it is at a level 50 and there'd be level 50s coming at you. Which was then why jump from zone to zone, right? I mean that was
Oh, they reset the levels, so they dropped it back from because
the levels would wherever you were
No, I mean-
played your level.
in the most recent expansion.
Yes.
They went from the 120, 130 level cap, and they dropped it back down to 60. So they just took all the characters and made it more manageable.
Huh, well,
Yeah.
still doesn't. Come on, Elwyn Forest, and we'd run down there to that river in the south,
Yeah.
and there were some brigands or something. You were with me, and we ran across the river and swam across the river. We're like, oh, we're safe. There's huge wolves, which were back then were like level 20. You know, it was like,
yeah.
oh my god, you can never go home again. Sorry, guys.
Okay, Andre has a serious question. At 216, can I hook up an IP desktop phone, like a Cisco, to a phone line, or will I need something like a phone switch or central unit? Or do these only work using an internet connection?
They only work using an internet connection. There's some of these VoIP phones you'll see with an RJ11 jack, but that's usually so you can plug a downstream fax machine in or
Right.
something. It'll emulate a dial tone and all that stuff. But no, they're VoIP. You're going to need either use if it's Cisco, you almost guaranteed you're going to have a dedicated switch just for the VoIP. It's a VoIP switch.
And VoIP being voice over IP.
Yeah. So no, unfortunately you can't. XY says we have black squirrels in New York too.
Excellent.
Well, I mean, isn't New York and Toronto like just over the lake?
They're fairly close. They're certainly closer than Houston and El Paso.
What's the capital of the state of New York?
Albany.
Ah, it made you think about it for a minute. How about Vermont? Oh, I just rehearsed all these, so I'm totally.
You're gonna just smoke me.
Montpelier.
Nice.
Got that going for me.
Yeah.
All right, so Maven Feliciano. Not that many Felicianos, and we're both Puerto Ricans, so high probability. Yeah. You never know. There we go. Feliz Navidad, prospero año y felicidad. Dude, we're old guys who live in Texas. Yo hablo español poquito. Yo tengo un mustacho muy guapo. Your turn. You just step. Do it! Do it!
Ja nie znаю ruski język.
It sounds so much better in the original Klingon. All right, guys, come on. We need to get some questions going here. Elbow.
Shows up at 2:20. Okay, so at 2:20, Jonathan actually wants to know, what is your thoughts on adult learning theory?
I think he's jacking with us a little bit. I think that adult learning theory is absolutely critical because I get a lot of adults reading my stuff, and I'm totally being trolled right now. You realize that, right?
You could be.
Yeah, so I'm a big believer in, aesthetic versus visual versus kinesthetic versus visual. That's always my big thing when it comes to that stuff.
So 220 Crazy Homebody Girl asks, can you please explain embedded systems? I keep getting practice questions wrong in relation to that topic.
So we're kind of evolving our term, and notice I say we because Scott's definitely directly involved with this. This came up with the Security Plus. What is an embedded system? And what I decided to do was take a somewhat less formal view on it and began to describe embedded systems in terms of aspects of it. Like, for example, an embedded system tends to have a fixed operating system. You might be able to patch it, but, like with your laptop right there, I can rip out Windows and put Linux in.
Right.
All right. You can't really do that, or it doesn't lend itself for an embedded system. An embedded system is going to have a particular function. It's not a general purpose. So a smartphone is, in my opinion, a embedded system. It's going to be using firmware for booting. It's going to use, what else? What else did I have there? Oh, it's not necessarily easily opened or changed.
Or upgraded.
Or upgraded. It's not like you can slide a new ARM processor in there, that kind of a thing. And then also is that it could be using specialized operating systems on top of that, like real-time, I'm going blank, VxWorks, stuff like that as an operating system. So that is what I call an embedded system.
So Andrew Hutz asked at 221, is there any actual way to get out in front of the constant cybersecurity risks out there today? The SolarWinds hack seems to show that private businesses are an easier path for nation-state attacks.
No, I mean, the reality is that no, you can't get ahead of it, all right? You can fight to stay on top of it as best you can, and just by you fighting to stay on top of it, that's going to put you so far ahead of so many other people. Even the SolarWinds hack, there was a patch there that people just didn't bother with. And it was a weird patch, but there was a patch. If you learn how to shut your door and everyone else just has screen doors, you're always going to be ahead of them. So, simply by saying that I need to get in front of it, Andrew, you're getting in front of it. Does that mean you'll never have an incident? I guarantee you will. But will you have less than others? Will you have good backup, right? Will you have business continuity? Will you have, all those things put together? Will you be applying security controls to your attack surfaces? Probably, which means that you're not going to be as easy as somebody else. Even the most basic amount of protection that let's just go with, let's ignore homes for a minute. Let's go with businesses. Even the most basic amount of due diligence and monitoring in terms of what attacks are out there and such is going to put you way ahead of everybody else. And you won't get ahead of it, ever. I don't get ahead of it. Do you ever get it? No.
So 221, just after that, CLW Chang asks, what's the difference between MS Chat versus CHAP, other than that one is Microsoft focused?
Okay, so CHAP stands for Challenge Handshake Authorization Protocol.
Authentication, I think.
Authentication. So the whole idea behind CHAP was that it was a challenge handshake. So in other words, the server would throw something at the dialing. It's used this more like dial-up more than anything else. So the server would throw something at it which would require something that it knew.
Right.
I'm a little rusty. MS Chat was just a Microsoft version of Chat that included, among other things, like 8.3 file naming and net bias naming and a few Microsofty things like that. And to be honest with you, once MS Chat came out, I never saw a functional Chat after that. Because everybody it was the same thing. It was just guaranteed to work with Microsoft.
And Microsoft's the 800-pound gorilla.
They still are.
Yep. So at 222, Andrew follows up with the symmetric versus asymmetric. Would a symmetric key be at higher risk for something like a man-in-the-middle attack?
Yes. Yes. How's that?
That was succinct.
Yeah. Yeah, people forget that Facebook used to run HTTP. This was less than 10 years ago.
Right.
It was like, more than 5. When you typed in your username and password into Facebook under HTTP, it was in the clear. I don't need to steal your symmetric key. You just typed in your username and password, and I'm on a wireless network running, there was a name of FireEye, which was a Firefox add-on that would just basically, it would just grab if it saw Facebook, it'd go, hey, here's 4 people using Facebook. You want to see what they're doing? Yeah, here, I'll put it up on the screen for you. And it was like, not only was it clever, but it automated everything. It's like, and you had a functional Facebook session on your machine.
Gotta love HTTPS. That's all I have to say.
Well, yeah. Kevin Lopez at 222. What Security Plus 501 topic have you seen most people have trouble with? Is there a particular... I can't say I've seen any particular one. I will say that CompTIA, when they talk about security logs, a lot of times they're not necessarily talking about an actual syslog security log or an event viewer security log. They're just saying that generically. And they might go, here's a log that came from, I can't believe it's a log store, right?
Right.
And here is something happening. And people look at this generic log and they're like, well, I've never seen a log like this. Who cares, It's a log. And each log lists some kind of event of something that's happening. And people are like, well, I don't know where this came from. It didn't come from anything. It came from the dark recesses of a question maker's mind. And so just answer the thing, because all the information you need's in there. Elbow and the perpetual system.
Yes. He did say it's an extreme budget build. So he's gradually getting pieces.
My Fingers Hurts is a new name. I run Mac because I can virtualize Windows and Linux, so I have everything all in one. Never going back to Android. My desktop is a gaming PC, though. Okay, so there you go. Let's start with gaming, all right? For general desktop usage, I prefer Windows. I have seen what people can do, like Michael Smyer of our office, as a developer. I can see the attraction to Mac.
Absolutely.
But Microsoft is even there still playing catch up. The equivalent solutions that Microsoft has done are not as elegant as what Apple has done. I don't use Linux unless I have something I need to get done. I don't install Linux and just, start sticking screwdrivers in it. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
Linux is I've got 3 Linux machines running here, and they're all dedicated to one particular job. They're embedded systems on my Raspberries, right?
Yeah, there you go.
So I guess that's the answer. CLW Chang, what does it mean for a block cipher to emulate streaming cipher? Is CFB and QFB streaming or block? CFB and I don't know what, I think you meant CFB and OFB. Oh God, I think I can do this from the top of my head. The problem that you have with all block symmetric algorithms is that they all take a 64-bit and then they do something with it with the same key. So 64-bit is a pretty granular thing that we see in like imagery, for example. If I were to open up a JPEG and like bring it into a viewer kind of a thing, you'd see that each pixel is emulated. It's been a while since I've done this with JPEGs. I think let's just say it's 32 bits. Okay? So what'll happen is, let's just say you have a big black background. So they each have the same 32-bit value. So you have 2 32-bit values that are the same. The next 2 are the same, next 2 are the same. So you have all these identical 64-bit values. You apply the same 64-bit key to it, and you get the same answer. So for encrypting something that has a high degree of repetition, like graphics or sound files and things like that, block encryptions have a problem. So what we do is we change it up a little bit. Like, for example, we'll go ahead and encrypt the first 64-bit block, and then we'll go ahead and take that result, whatever that result is, and now that's going to be the key for the next 64-bit block. We don't just keep using the same key. And these are called modes, and AES has 6 modes at least. They used to be on they're on the Security Plus 501. They're not on the 601, which disappoints me because it is part of 802.11ax and AC. That we have these encryption modes that are actually part of the standard. Anyway, the bottom line is, I've gone far away and I don't remember what the question was. What does it mean for a block cipher to emulate streaming cipher? Okay, block ciphers do not emulate a streaming cipher. CLW Chang. This is one of these things where you're like, well, and I'm always terrified because, like, well, in your book you say right here, I don't think it is. Oh God, even Michael Smyer's tapping in.
No, he was joking.
Oh.
We haven't gotten to that question yet.
So I don't feel that block ciphers emulate streaming ciphers. And that CFB, OFB is not a thing. CFB and... I wish I had an easy page for this. Here, let me look it up. Oh, there is an OFB. All right.
That doesn't look right.
Hang on, give me a sec. I'm getting there. Oops.
Wrong one. Oh, what have you done? What have you done?
It's just getting worse. Hey, I'm going to get this. Now it's a thing. All right. I hate computers. It's okay.
If only we knew somebody who was good with these computer things.
I am gooder than most. All right, so AES has 5 modes. I'm sorry, did I say 6? So these are the different modes, and all they're designed to do is to change the way AES encrypts stuff so you don't accidentally create patterns that are naughty. Give me another one, Scott.
So XY, we're 20 minutes behind at this point.
All right.
So this is at 224. XY says, what do you think of the state of IT support will be post-pandemic, given that fewer people are going into the office?
Oh, they're going to need more help.
Right.
It used to be, at least with an office, we consolidated 150, 200 machines in one space.
Right.
I think what you're going to start seeing is companies are going to start buying up, remote support deals.
Right.
Things like that. Yeah, every time they say we're getting rid of text, something else comes along and there's more of us than ever.
Monique asked at 224 what the state of the 601, I assume video courses are, for Security Plus. So, we have the book.
Book's out. We are literally updating the videos as we speak. And I haven't looked. I don't think they're all up there.
So, the shooting of the videos, which started 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago. It
And-
should be wrapping up this week.
Right. But then there's the post-production stuff, which takes about twice as long. So we've still got another month at least before you'll see the 601 videos on Udemy.
And Linda and all the other places.
And all of our multitude of platforms.
Where are we up to?
We are on 224 with Patrick Vellis.
Hit it.
Can you name 5 topics in Network Plus that you think are difficult to prepare for or are abused by CompTIA on tests?
No, because Patrick, if I start doing that, that's the only thing you're going to look at. CompTIA does not narrow this stuff down. I've tried helping people in this order before, and then all they do is, well, Mike said I got to memorize port numbers, and all of a sudden they just quit studying everything else. So no, I don't think CompTIA, there is no top 5, no top 3. Number 7 will shock you. Sorry, man, doesn't work that way.
So Andrew's coming up with more Security Plus questions, because of course that's what he's studying for. Mike, do you know of any efforts on the part of the U.S. and other friendly countries to develop any kind of unified strategy for dealing with nation-state threat actors?
No, but I mean, we have all the open source intelligence tool sets that are out there already, right. Which like ISO and NIST share stuff like crazy. So MITRE shares stuff like crazy. That's the Europeans there. I think that almost all anti-bad guy solutions are inherently and automatically international by that there's no reason to say, oh, this has to be international. It's already international.
Right.
It's like going up to a toaster and says, if we gave this electricity, but that's what this plug's for. Oh, okay, never mind.
So XY asked the...
No, the daily question.
The
I'm
daily
reading this
question.
one. Google IT support specialist. XY, I can only say one thing. I'm not seeing anybody asking for that in job stuff.
What I would do is go to Indeed.com and type in Google IT support specialist and see what pops. I mean, for a while we were saying Net Plus is kind of, it's not really, you don't really need it except for the knowledge. But then doing an Indeed search turned up a whole bunch of jobs that were right there requiring Network Plus certification. So do the same thing with the Google IT support specialist and see what the state of it is.
Dude, there's World of Warcraft stuff in there. I'm skipping it. They did a level squish for Shadowlands was the rollout.
Yeah, Joshua, thank you. I did remember eventually.
Andrew Hutz, next to the United States, which countries do you feel are most on the cutting edge of technology development? Do you think it's worth to consider foreign employees if they're remote?
Or employers.
Employers? Ooh.
Ooh, yeah, big. That's a different.
Yeah, I mean, anybody's willing to pay you. I've got a lot of friends who are working remotely now.
Like that one friend, Steve.
Jessica Dickerson.
Yes, that's true.
Drew Ann. It's all gals by coincidence. Sandy. And these are all professional people with degrees or sorry, yes, Jessica doesn't have a degree. Everybody else does.
I don't know.
No, lots of people are. I can't name like another country. You know, U.S. really is a powerhouse sometimes. It does surprise me. You lose track, you know. Like, I don't know, I was reading something about Iceland doing something that's amazing, right? And it's like, they've only got 600,000 people, you know? They can call each other on the phone. It's like, it takes, what, an hour and a half to ride across Iceland on a bicycle? It's like the world's equivalent of Rhode Island.
Not that small.
Did you know you can fit 3 Englands into Texas?
Did you know you could fit one Rhode Island into Houston?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's now you can fit New Hampshire. They've gone up a state. It's like, it's so small. It's just like, oh, so cute, you know?
We could be our own state. Yeah.
All right, Pujan Kavi. Is IP masquerading and IP spoofing the same thing? We masquerading is one form of spoofing.
Yeah, but it was like an early form of NAT, right?
I might have to. I don't know. Let's look at it together. Oh, that's right. Thank you. So no. So IP spoofing means somebody is pretending to be somebody else by IP address. That's all that means. So IP masquerading is where a one computer acts as a router, as a gateway.
Right, and hiding other computers behind it.
Yeah.
Essentially.
That's what you were trying to say.
As in like an early form of NAT.
Yeah, but okay, yes. Okay, sure. Yeah.
So at 2:30, I don't know where you're at.
I am.
Greg Davis asks, or says, "Hey everyone, my son is working on his master's in computer science and was told that Security Plus would be very beneficial." Okay, should he start studying?
Wait. First of all, who this came from? Greg Davis?
Yeah.
Greg Davis, do me a favor. Send me an email. I want to hear who told your son that. It's not that I disagree with it. It's just I want to know where that came from. So, Greg Davis, please send me an email to michael@totalsm.com. The end result is I'm probably going to ask your son, where did he hear about that? Should he be studying for the 501 or the new 601? Greg, always study for whatever the older exam is.
As long as he has time, because it ends
in July.
So
yeah. Nobody ever asked what version of an exam you took, ever.
So Elbow got some cool news. Officially promoted to a technician at his job. IT fundamentalist certified. 3 months as help desk. Get a job.
Oh, well, that's
great.
That's
Congratulations.
Yeah, your first year or 2 years in IT, you're all over the place.
That's great.
All right. Reza, Toronto to New York is an 8-hour drive. Oh, Reza thinks that we're talking about New York City. I was talking about, name another, Troy.
Ithaca.
Albany. Niagara Falls. The American side. Or they're just coming up to where you made the Russian jokes. 233 Andrew Hutz. Mike, would there be any scenario in which an individual would use an IDS or IPS, or are those generally for enterprise government use? We definitely see IDS as a concept is pretty much gone because all that does is warn people. So pretty much if you're going to see anything today, it's IPS, And we definitely see on some of these, in the last 18 months, arguably 2 years, we have seen IPS functionality show up in a lot of Soho type routers, but that would be about it. It would generally, I would look at as an enterprise thing. One last question for you. Any tech jobs in the U.S. South? I'm in New York City. Local job would be nice. New York City. The southern United States, Houston for sure, is rocking and rolling. Anybody who came into Houston, as long as you could show some competency, motivation, maturity, and reliability, you'd be working in 2 weeks.
Same thing with Austin.
Yeah, it wouldn't even be hard. New York City, man, XY.
So Jairo at 234 asked about Pearson Vue doing home testing instead of testing centers. The key thing, I think, I'll take it unless you want to.
Go.
The key thing is Pearson Vue has tons of certifications, right? And testing for a whole bunch of entities beyond CompTIA. They have hundreds, if not thousands, of testing centers worldwide. I think that they will continue as we get our vaccinations and finally get to be able to go out in public, that they will continue to use home testing, since now it's tried and true.
Sure.
As to augment all the testing centers. So it's a very different experience in a testing center versus at home. So
you got to keep in mind, Pearson Vue are the people who do OnView, which is the home testing.
Right.
So they have already adopted home testing. Now, I assume that not everything is home testable, that there's probably maybe some nurse certifications or something. Remember, Pearson Vue does a lot more than just CompTIA. Pearson Vue does a lot more than just IT. So they have already adopted home testing instead of testing centers. But as well as testing centers, not in lieu of. Okay, Frank Badillo. Okay, a question that'll show my age. I was riding a dinosaur. I'm kidding. Back in the day, say late 90s, early thousands, server uptime was a key metric in defining your admin success. E.g., I have uptime of 10,000 hours without a... it just ends
Hold on. Without a 238. Reboot and all patches applied on my server was a badge of honor. Nowadays, I hear things like, why haven't you restarted the server? It's been 2 weeks.
I don't think we have the robustness. I mean, an old NetWare server running back in the late 90s, early 2000s, you weren't bombarded with problems. You weren't on the internet. Patching wasn't that big of a deal.
Right.
It was rare. It was really Windows who started the whole upgrade thing, and probably with Windows 95 would have been the first time we really started to see service packs and, those types of things. I mean, it was the internet that did it. But yeah, you don't see that like you used to.
And Frank had a follow-up question. Did I miss something that would cause this mindset? So that's your answer.
I think I got it covered, right? Yeah, you didn't miss anything. It was the internet. Kevin Lopez, do you think a Linux distro will ever become as big as mainstream as Windows? Already has.
Yeah, big time.
It's called Android, is by far the most popular operating system on Earth. But they just use it on phones.
Right.
Lots and lots of phones.
And so many of the network data centers and stuff, I mean, their servers are running Linux.
Yeah.
Linux is huge.
Apple still has about the 10% penetration it's had for the last 20 years. And Windows still commands the desktop market. Who still uses HTTP? Nobody on the internet. In fact, most browsers today will not allow you to log. They treat hitting an HTTP machine like hitting a machine with a bad certificate.
Right.
advanced options. Yes, I really do want to go to that site.
Yeah.
You fool! You fool!
Don't do it. So at 2:39, Paradox says, "Hey Mike, I had a capstone project for my cybersecurity degree. We used HPing 3 on Kali Linux to take a Windows 10 server down. Cool stuff. Cool stuff indeed."
Sounds cool.
Yeah.
I probably know what that one is. I'd have to look at it though. All right, so guys, are we coming up to? It's already after. It's 3 o'clock right now. All right, so guys, I want to go ahead and discuss trim, and in order to do that, I've got a little presentation for you. So this was Teacher Russell couple of weeks ago, asked a better way to describe defrag/trim. And when just saying that, I knew we already had a problem, because
Right.
defrag and trim are kind of different animals. But anyway, so I went ahead and put together a little presentation. And what I'd like to do is let's talk about what is trim. But I want to start talking about this by going back to the old days of rotational media. So let's do this. Put it on the right one. There we go. Da, 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 da.
Screen is completely blank.
Whoops. All right, so here's our platters on an internal old school hard disk drive. And if we were to zoom in on this a little bit and just take a look at one little spot, what we'd see are these individual little arcs that are known as sectors. Now, these have been around forever. Back when sectors first came out, they stored about 512 bytes. But today, a standard sector stores 4,096 bytes, or better known as 4 kibibytes. I know we used to say kilobytes, but we're trying to use better terminology these days. Kibibytes, all right? So now, if you were to look at this drive electronically, what you really see is there's an interface between you and the drive. As the operating system, or as the CPU or the system itself, you can't see the sectors, okay? So what you have instead is you have an interface, a controller that's actually on the drive itself, and it creates what are known as logical block addresses. So each sector gets matched to an LBA value, and that LBA value is 0 to whatever the number of sectors are. So there could be, lots and lots of individual LBAs on a hard drive. So this was important because what took place is the first generation of hard drives would use what were called CHS values, cylinder heads, sectors per track. And when LBA came out, and this is
a long time ago,
yeah, but we still use it today. So when LBA came out, it basically allowed hard drive manufacturers to make those sectors any way they wanted. Like you could go up a few cylinders until the arcs keep getting bigger and bigger. There's a certain point you could turn them into 2, stuff like that, which wouldn't be... Was that you?
That is not me. Maybe it's the neighbor who's listening outside the window.
That's it. I hate those little cups, red solo.
Hey, what are they doing in there?
All right, so anyway, the bottom line is that, so we live on LBA values today for just about everything. So, all right. Here's where you advance. There we go. Whew. All right. So what would happen is back in the old days with rotational media, we could get to the point where the files would not be stored sequentially on the drive. Remember, you have to put the drives into individual sectors, or sometimes you'd even had to group the sectors together into these things called clusters. And because it was physically a drive, putting them in order would make them run faster. And this was known as defragging. So this is a third-party defragger called Diskkeeper doing its thing, which I completely just stole off the internet. All right.
Thief Baggins!
So defragmentation is a good thing for traditional disk drives. However, here's a SSD. Now, if we take a look at this guy, and we zoom in on a little spot there, what we have are individual storage areas called pages. So the page is kind of like the sector. The only downside is that we put these individual pages together into groups called blocks. This is important, folks, because each page stores between 512 and 16 kilobytes. So 4 kilobytes is very common. So it's basically the same as a sector. But each block stores about 128 pages. Now, again, this varies a lot from manufacturer to manufacturer. So why is this important, Mike? Well, it boils down to this. First of all, keep in mind that as far as we're concerned, we still use LBA. Just because it's an SSD and not a hard disk drive, it still uses LBA. The downside out is that each individual page could be one LBA, but it's really up to the internal electronics of the drive to make that decision. Okay, so all SSDs use a technology called NAND technology. Think of NAND, for all intents and purposes, as special RAM. It's just RAM. It's random access. Well, almost. First of all, if you want to read something, you can read individual pages. If you want to write something, you can write to an individual page. But if you want to erase something, you have to erase an entire block. This is a big issue because if I could do most of my work just looking at one individual page, which is basically a sector and LBA equivalent, it's easy. But if you want to erase a lot, now you got a problem, a big problem. Well, the biggest problem you run into is that the only real weakness to SSDs more than anything else is that SSDs have a limited lifespan. And it's based on the number of writes. So the less writing you can make it do, the better. And this is where we run into a real weakness when it comes to SSDs, and it has to do with this creates a situation where lots of erasing and moving has to take place to even do a simple write command. Let me show you what I mean. So this is called garbage collection. So here I've got a individual block here, and it consists of lots of pages. Now in this particular case, you can look at this and you say, well, wherever it's red, those are individual written pages. But if I want to write any more to something that's already partially written to, I've got to erase the whole thing. And this is what garbage collection is. Garbage collection is designed to erase out used individual pages, and they're put to another spot. So now it's empty, and now this thing's ready for writing. So the problem with the garbage collection, number one, garbage collection speeds up SSDs a little bit, but mainly it reduces the number of write operations, making the drive last a lot longer. I didn't put it in here, but the number, what is it called? The endurance of an SSD is measured in terabytes of write operations. So it says I can write 600 terabytes into this drive.
Right.
So that would be like for a 1 terabyte or a 2 terabyte drive. So the endurance is hundreds of times more than the actual capacity of the drive. So if you get a 1 terabyte drive, you should be able to get an endurance of 400, 500 terabytes. So you'd think, well, does that seem like a lot or a little? Seriously.
These days, it's a lot. We're talking years.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And but a big part of the endurance is based on proper garbage collection. Because, man, you got to start writing a lot of stuff. Oh, baby.
Yeah.
That's good. That's what gets you in trouble. All right. Anyway, let's get back in here. Okay, so the problem with garbage collection is it's only the operating system knows which blocks can be erased by seeing which files are no longer have a record in the directory structure. Bottom line is, with an SSD, if you click on erase, it doesn't get erased. Now that's always been true even with hard disk drives, right? Where we'd have the lowercase sigma put in there, but at least with old hard disk drives, there would be an aspect of it through defragmentation or something like that where we could clean up the drive. You don't have that with SSDs. All you have is you have garbage collection. There's a few others, but they're completely transparent. You don't see them write balancing. With write balancing, like you don't want to start writing at the same. Every time you need to write something, you're always going to fill up the first couple of LBA values.
Right.
Well, with a SSD, it bounces around the drive intentionally,
Right.
so that it spreads out how quickly you wear something out.
And it doesn't slow anything down because there's no spinning media.
I'm allergic to you.
You are, and allergic to the live stream.
Oh, I guess I am. Oof. All right. But the problem with garbage collection on a SSD is that the SSD doesn't know which block can be erased. So there has to be SSDs cannot garbage collect on their own. The operating system needs to command the SSD to, number one, initiate a garbage collection, and then two, give it a list which ABA values are erasable. So once that's done, the SSD can then map LBA values to the correct blocks and go ahead and start the garbage collection. We call this command to start a garbage collection trim. That's what trim is. Okay. So here's a little pretty copy of Windows system, and here's an SSD that's plugged into the Windows system. So what's going to happen is that Windows says start the trim, and here's a list of all the LBAs I don't need, and then the drive itself begins going through this garbage collection process. Now, all operating systems support trim, no exceptions. But I want to talk about Windows because that's a CompTIA thing to do. All right. So what we can do is we can from the File Explorer, we can right-click on the C drive, select Properties, and then we can see something like this. I'll bet you guys have seen this before. And then we got this Options right here. So we can click on that. Now I want you guys to look at this really, really carefully. It says, here it says Optimize and Defragment Drive. I've been using Windows 10 now for, how long has it been out? 7 years?
That long?
I think. Anyway, bottom line is, Microsoft has changed this interface. So it used to be defrag, defragment. Then in this particular picture, it says optimize and defragment. And I looked at my latest version of Windows 10, and if I click on it, it says optimize. So the bottom line is you never know what it's exactly going to say in here. But I mean, the thing's still in the same place. All right, so we click on that. And then we'll see in this particular case, what I want you to look at, this is, you can see just by the year, this is an older one. But if you take a look, it'll say 2 days since last run. Today it says 2 days since last trim. Now these are you can see these are both solid state drives, okay? Now let's do this again, except this time, if we do it with rotational media, now if you take a look here, you'll see that it just says hard disk drive and fragmentation. So Windows will automatically recognize the difference and change the menu based on whatever you happen to have. All right, so, oh yeah, so you can actually change the settings. First of all, you'll notice here it's on. See that? So it's already on and running. But if you wanted to, you could change the settings. And in this particular case, you can change it, run on a schedule recommended, and it's like daily, weekly, or monthly. And you can increase the task priority if consecutive schedule runs are missed. In other words, if it's been a while since you trimmed the drive, it'll kick its priority up. And then you can choose which drives you want as well. I believe that's it, yeah. So that's trim. It's pretty straightforward. The problem is, particularly in Windows, how trim has been handled has changed so many times that I can't tell you any one thing to do other than this. Leave it alone. If you've been patching your Windows 10 at all, Windows will automatically trim a drive on a weekly basis. There's nothing to do. I know.
There is nothing to do.
There's nothing to do.
No.
Well,
Windows
people get frustrated. They don't like that. Because people want to take screwdrivers to their systems.
Not anymore.
I want to run defrag.
Not anymore.
Check disk /F.
Don't do it.
Yeah. There's nothing to do, guys. You just let it go. Let it go.
Our job is
to sing Frozen songs badly. I love your pregnant pauses. I love them. Do it again. Do it again.
Our job as techs these days
Ball peen hammer? Ah, my God, I've seen The Exorcist 47 times and it just keeps getting funnier. All right. Let's see if there's any questions on
There were
that.
tons, starting way back at 240.
Line me up, man.
Okay.
I'm
Because that's where we left off.
Richard Ocampo. I'm just starting IT schooling. Would cloud computing be a good degree for plenty career opportunities? Thank you. Yes. Of course.
Absolutely.
Of course, then, Richard, the question is, what is your IT schooling? What are your goals? What do you want to do? What's your motivation? If you tell me money, I'm going to tell you to go be an electrician. I want to, just tell me what it's all about. Here, Richard, do me a favor, bud. Richard Ocampo, send me an email.
Michael M. at TotalSim.com.
Thank you. Because Richard Ocampo, I want to hear what your plans are, man. I'm very, very curious.
So Andrew Hutz asked 242, are major personal use Linux distros like Ubuntu or Mint any more or less secure than Windows? More secure because they're not under the same kind of level of attack.
Yeah, I'd go with that.
Yeah.
Mr. Ace, thanks you for all you do. You're welcome there, soldier.
The problem, Telewit, in breaking me in a live session like this is I'm way behind in the questions, just like Mike always is, because we're doing this real time. So
Ignore that, Tolowit. Give me another question. This chair,
okay, all right.
man.
So Reza at 243 says, guys, I'm studying for my Network Plus. Can you explain split horizon? I've read your book, and I seem to be having trouble getting it. I know it's used for loop prevention.
Split horizon, I think he means in terms of VPNs. Sorry, guys, this chair just stinks. Try again. Ugh. Don't have on my juicy sweatpants.
Thank God.
I'm going to do it to you guys one of these days. So split horizon is a problem with VPNs. So let's just say you have a forward VPN and you're just trying to connect to the office, right? So you got a little laptop, it's got a VPN client, you connect in, boom, you connect in there. That is your connection. So you may think that you're connected to the wireless at Denver Airport or wherever you are. But the moment you create a VPN, at least classically with an old school VPN, that was your internet connection. It was your IP address, was coming from the DHCP server on your local network. Everything was coming from your office, all right? Well, then all of a sudden, what happens if you open a web browser? Well, now you open the web browser, it's going to go over to your office. It's going to use your router. The router's going to go out, get the connection. It's going to bring it back in, hands it to your machine, then it goes back through the internet, which is wasteful. So what we decided to do is for pretty much all VPN solutions today, split horizon that, which basically means as long as I'm talking on my local area network at the office, then I'm going to go ahead and treat it like a VPN. However, if I just open a web browser or something and I'm going to Google, do not use the VPN interconnection to do that. Ignore the VPN tunnel. Just go to the internet directly. That's what split horizon is. It speeds things up a lot. What do we got, Scott?
Andrew Hutz at 244. Apart from NIST, what are some other organizations that develop and maintain security frameworks, and are there advantages to one over the other?
Show it to me. Yeah. There's a number of other security frameworks. Oh Lord, I can't think of some quickly off the top of my head. We just wrote about this in the new book. There's a bunch of them, and I apologize. They are not coming to my mind quickly. Can I just leave it like that? I'm just going to leave it like that. Get my book. Give me money. Monique, I got a coworker before who defragged an SSD. It probably didn't hurt anything, Monique. I'm not aware of a way to send any more. I mean, back in the day.
Like when SSDs first came out, yeah. But Windows won't defrag an SSD.
Yeah, they won't.
I mean, you can't.
Can't. I agree.
So, 249, Saidu Kone, asked again, are we going to update our Security Plus questions? Sorry, you didn't ask again. Somebody asked at the very beginning of the session. Yeah, we're working on it. The book is out. The practice tests are out. Mike and Dan are shooting the video series right now. They should be done within a week. And then it's a few weeks after that before the post-production gets done. And then it goes to Udemy, Lynda, LinkedIn Learning. Well, that's the same thing now. Many other platforms.
Many other platforms.
Yeah.
Cast of thousands. Feed me, Scott. I'm lost. Where are we at?
Okay. So Andrew also mentioned a follow-up to his earlier question on should he be paying attention to foreign employers because, as we know, he's fluent in Hebrew, and Israel is a major tech player. Yes, you should pay attention because we can work remotely from anywhere. That's the beauty of gigabit networks.
Yeah, Andrew, anybody who can speak any other language should always take advantage of that.
Yep, absolutely.
I mean, here in the States, geez. Scott and I laugh that we speak Spanish, but we can order 2 beers in 40 different languages.
Pretty much.
But yeah, but if you're fluent, you should always take advantage of that. Absolutely. All right, Scott, I got a sense we need to kick it up here a little bit.
Right, 253. What are the security advantages and disadvantages of open source versus proprietary software?
Are we paying this guy to plant questions like this?
No, Andrew is literally studying this stuff right
All
now,
right.
and so he's coming up with the questions because, he's a smart guy.
Open source software has the disadvantage that anybody can look at the sourcing and be able to potentially do naughty things with it. However, that doesn't usually happen because lots of other people are looking at the open source software at the same time, and as a result, they can protect it. Whereas with proprietary, you have the exact opposite problem, right? It's hard to break proprietary software, but once you do break it, it's usually easy to keep it broken depending on the response speed. Microsoft does a pretty good job of responding to breaches. How fast does, that game or whatever
Right.
you got that you're running the server version and now you've exposed, port 222 or whatever it might be.
Right.
That would be the big thing.
So CLW Chang asked a different type of question at 253. I have profiles in Monster and Indeed, and I get contacted by a recruitment agency, but there's also a flood of scams in relation to job seeking. Recommendations.
Don't give them any money.
Yeah, and do your own job searching on Indeed.
I'm not against recruitment agencies at all.
I'm not either.
I'm at all. But never pay a recruitment agency. Recruitment agencies are normally paid by employers to find people. They are.
Right.
There are other exceptions that are out there that, in my opinion, are very gray. Don't give anybody money to help you find a job.
Right. So at 254, Siegfried asks about when the A+ exams expire. We don't know for sure.
There is no date yet.
Yeah, but it's
Over a year.
over a year from now, for sure.
So IDS has gone the way of the hub. No, I guess it has in that the hub was usurped by a superior technology,
The switch.
the switch, and IPS isn't that big of a jump from IDS. So I have not seen a pure IDS solution in a long time.
Right.
It's all IPS.
So Jason notes, since he just passed his first exam just before the live stream happened, that he did it with OnView as well, and this time was 1,000 times better than his last experience with the proctor.
That's fine. Yeah, and Jason, don't worry about emailing me. It's as long as you guys are letting me know about the experience, I think that the few problems we saw, all the times people had problems was in the first couple of months or maybe 30 days that OnView lit up. And I haven't heard any problems since then. So it looks like we could be past that. Nigel, most of Amazon's stuff, if not all, is Linux. Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, Linux is great stuff. The problem is that Linux does not do well on the desktop. It has less than 5% desktop penetration, and it's just not going to be there. You know, Windows, and then we got 2 proprietary operating systems that have a very large market share.
So Monique mentioned in the chat that Udemy is having a big sale that ends today. They do this periodically. Don't tell my marketing people.
We have zero control over this kind of stuff, folks.
Right.
It's nice. It's nice, but don't bother ever asking me how much anything is worth, because I don't know. And it gets changed. Udemy's like, so you're selling this class for $100? We're going to sell it for $2 and some navel lint. It's like,
No, don't sell my course for $2.
It's like, do you want to read the contract you agreed to, Mr. Meyers?
Right.
All right, so guys, do keep in mind, we're at 3:30, so it's 3:26 here in Houston, Texas. We end at 4 o'clock, or until the questions run out. So
at 3:14, I posted the link to the unofficial Total Seminars Discord channel that generally is on 24/7. It's run by our friend Jose Braden and some moderators here like Telowit and others who are not Total Seminars, right? It's a place that we can go. You can post questions. There are lots of really, really smart techs who can answer questions. Mike and myself and Dave Rush, who's being our moderator in the background today, will get on often after the AMAs and just to say hi and bring your camera and bring your microphone, jump into voice chat and video chat, and we can see who you are, as well as you can interact directly with us, and with all the other cast of thousands here in the live chat. So it's
you get to try to figure out what the heck Zach is saying.
I'm getting there. I'm actually getting there.
All right, so I said all right. What do you? Okay, Zach's not that bad.
He's not that bad.
He's not on right now, right?
He is on.
Oh, damn! I can't talk about him behind his back if he's listening.
That's true.
Zach, you're wonderful. Andrew Hutz, never drinking code, kids. So the old thing back when I actually wrote code for the Texas Department of Transportation, they'd ask, where's the automation? We weren't even the IT department. Where's the automation department? And they said, just follow the cigarette smoke.
Nice.
In order for me to write code, I had to have a Coke and a smoke. I did. Here I'm writing. I'm not even going to name the language.
And nowadays it's Mountain Dew and Skittles.
Skittles and Red Bull. It gives you wings. So you ever tried that 5-hour energy drink?
Yeah, it took me to the emergency room.
I took that 5-hour energy drink. I'm like in the middle of I wish I was in the middle of nowhere. It was about 100 miles to nowhere, like Amarillo or something like that. Driving West Texas at night, don't do it, kids. I'm like, I gotta make it home. And 5-hour energy drink. I drank one of those and I stayed up for 5 hours because I didn't realize when you drank it, it reconstitutes as a chainsaw in your stomach. And just like, and I'm like, oh God! It was so painful. 5-hour energy drink. Yipe. Will you quit distracting me and please go
okay, all right. So I can't even at 3:24. I can't even pronounce your name. If
3:24, really?
Ifigny.
Manischewitz.
What's CompTIA A+ all about? I want to pass through the introductory class. So CompTIA A+, you want to hit it?
Yeah, you got it, man.
CompTIA A+ is the de facto first certification in IT for most people and most programs.
There's thousands of IT certifications.
Right. But CompTIA A+ is about how to build and fix computers. So since that's kind of the bedrock of IT, at least at the starting point, learning the basics of all that stuff just sets you up and gets you ready for going into later certifications where you're building and fixing networks, i.e. CompTIA Network Plus, securing them, i.e. CompTIA Security Plus. So A+ is generally the starting point. Depending on where your level of tech is, you might need to start a little bit earlier than that with CompTIA IT Fundamentals Plus. That's a precursor for A+. It's a much lower stakes and less, i.e. less expensive, i.e. that apparently is the other thing that I'm saying today.
I.e., you like to use those phrases.
I do. So ITF Plus could be a starting point for you depending on your level right now of knowledge.
318, Joshua M. Any advice on the best laptops to get for ethical hacking? Not really. Make sure it has a lot of USB ports.
Yeah.
But other than that, Kali runs just fine on 8 gigs. The only, you want to get a third-party wireless NIC. Here, keep him entertained for a minute, Scott. I'm going to grab something.
We're talking about the laptop for ethical hacking or pen testing. Windows is good. There's lots of great tools. You'll probably want a Kali Linux virtual machine on there as well, because that's your tool for ethical hacking, because it comes with everything built in, and you almost need nothing else but that Kali Linux. So if you've got that running on a nice VM with enough RAM to be able to run it well, you're going to be in great shape.
The secret to my success is organization, buddy. Scott's getting a stomach ache right now, people.
Because he's doing this live on the internet. So yeah, as my grandmother would say.
Ooh, my Google Buds.
As my grandmother would say, Mike, you're showing your bloomers.
Speaking of, hang on. I can't believe how many adapters can one guy put into. I got thousands of these. This particular one is HDMI to mini HDMI.
That's lovely, Mike.
All right, I'm trying to find one little thing for these guys. Here it is. All right, so this is probably the most important thing when you're picking a hackable machine, is get a USB wireless and make sure that this will work with Kali. Just say works with Kali. That's the important thing. Most of the wireless NICs that come in laptops will not work with Kali. So if you want to do any kind of wireless hacking, you're going to have to get something like this. And I picked this one up on eBay. This is 802.11n. But to be honest with you, this is fine, because as long as I can
do both
get both bands,
yeah,
I'm in good shape. And so I've had that thing for about 5 years. I still use it today. So WPA attacks, WPS attacks, all that, just Kali on a Dell laptop, and I'm set. So there isn't a particular brand. Maven says I should do some presentations using a Mac.
Mike doesn't use a Mac.
No, I do use a Mac. I'm not saying I'm highly expert. I'm comfortable with Macs. You know, I can defrag an SSD with a Mac.
Face palm.
The problem is that just between you and me and the wall, if I did a bunch of demonstrations on a Mac, it wouldn't help you pass the A+.
That's true.
There'd be questions. Joshua M wants to know, how do we join the Discord? So if you cut and paste,
oh God,
you still haven't done that.
No, I haven't done that.
You know what? Why don't you just do it now? You know?
Let's not do this live, Mike.
Well, I'll talk, and then you could catch up with the live. All right. Anyway, so Scott Jernigan's going to put up the link for the Discord channel. Again, this is not a Total Seminars channel. It's not a Mike Meyers channel. I can't guarantee that everyone will be on their best behavior in there like we are here. But there's a lot of good text in there, and particularly if you've got a camera and a headset where you could point at, oh, my hard drive hurts so bad right here. It's a great place to be able to get those types of questions answered. The main time you're going to see people in there live is about 30 minutes after these end on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Also, do keep in mind that this Friday is the Dave Rush Ask Mike Anything, the DRAMA, better known as Drama, and Dave Rush will be juggling baby seals. No?
With ivory handles.
Ivory on large forks. You got to hit him right in the middle. What's Dave? Here it comes.
So the drama this Friday is running games and wine on the Raspberry Pi. And we're not talking about that kind of wine. We're talking about
the emulator.
The emulator software so that you can run Windows programs on a Raspberry Pi. How cool is that? So the Raspberry Pi, this is a very tiny system on a chip, very inexpensive machine that is incredibly versatile, runs a version of Linux or versions of Linux that we use for helping us learn all the stuff we need to know for A+, Network+, Security+, because it's an easy and inexpensive platform to get into. And Dave on Fridays in the drama will go through lots of entertaining and interesting ways to use the Raspberry Pi. And so this week is running games.
Outstanding. All right. Wait a minute. John Doroval says, Mike doesn't collab with McGraw-Hill anymore. Oh, yeah. That's pretty much all I work with. See the little red thing in the corner there? It's McGraw-Hill. No, all the books I do are with McGraw-Hill.
So we did not write the all-in-one Security Plus book for 601. That's true. So we have our Mike Meyers Security, whatever the name of it is, CompTIA Security Plus Certification Guide. Third edition is just now published.
Yep.
And that's for the 601 exam. There were a couple of questions about the Passport. Mike is the series editor for the Mike Meyers Passport
books.
Cram books for...
I hate the word cram, but that's what they are.
Yeah. It's all the extra stuff is cut out, and it's just about the certification.
I just realized I haven't put my microphone back.
Dr. Don Dunkersley, who wrote the Passport book, great, smart, and a good writer. So, it's a good book.
Did a good job. Yeah, did good. Joshua M.
Where are you?
333. J Baseball 362. Any advice on a Linux distribution for 5th and 6th grade tutorial? I'm a tech at a school and I was used by the tech as to assist. Yes, I'm getting paid extra for my time. I mean, Ubuntu is a great just tool. Yeah, just Ubuntu. Ubuntu Desktop is a relatively small footprint, very, very popular Linux distro. Easy to download software. The default desktop is nice. GNOME 3, right? Yes. Just get Ubuntu. It's great. They have long-term support versions. It's great stuff.
Absolutely.
Joshua M. at 333. I'd like to work on cybersecurity. What's the most suitable certificate between Security Plus and Pen Test Plus as a starting point? Okay. Wow.
Okay.
So Security Plus is your starting point.
Right.
So not. You can go straight from Security Plus to Pen Test Plus, I would think.
Absolutely.
Maybe CYSA?
That's the Cybersecurity Analyst Plus.
Yeah. Maybe CASP? The CYSA, CASP. I would stay in the Cisco world if you want to go from Security Plus and Pen Test.
He means the CompTIA world, but yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. What's the most suitable certificate between Security Plus and Pen Test Plus? Which one's better? Security Plus.
So
Nicholas Pratt, what's the code this week? I am having a big fight with my marketing people right now, so we are not doing codes here for a little bit. I'm sorry, man. I'm just, we're not in agreement, me and the marketing folks.
So RedTuber asks at 3:33 how long the discount vouchers last after you purchase them.
I think it's a year.
It's a year, sort of. When we get them, it's a year. Depending on how quickly they get purchased, it's slightly less than a year. So that's kind of when they get purchased by the consumer. So we tend to buy them in fairly small bunches so that they stay as fresh as possible. So
I mean, it's not like you're
just
going to
under
get
a year.
Yeah, we move through those pretty quick. So
Yeah.
you might get one that has 10 months on it would be the worst. But what do you, Joshua M., what do you think about the new Wi-Fi standards? I don't know. Problem is I've been playing with Wi-Fi now for over 20 years. So I got really comfortable with all the 802.11 standards. So bringing in things like Wi-Fi 4, Wi-Fi 5, Wi-Fi 6, I don't know.
They're good marketing terms, man. Come on.
Yeah, they're good marketing terms. Know them both.
So Nicholas Pratt at 3:34 also. You're welcome. Said, hey, thanks, Scott and Mike. I'm A+, working on your Network Plus book now. Rock and roll, man. You've got about 6 months, 9 months before the exam expires.
Looking for questions. We're literally battling each other.
Yeah, we're just basically scanning for questions. I'm at
I see lots of
3:36.
@ signs.
Absolutely.
Nicholas Pratt, is there a weekly discount, sir? No, there is no discount this week. We'll get this worked out eventually.
I know, I just scrolled too.
Tech Viking. Techno Viking. It's an old video of this guy in Berlin. Techno Viking. Look up Techno Viking. It's a old YouTube video. It's hilarious. Joshua M. Any tips on developing a portfolio to show potential my tech skills after I become A+ certified? No. In fact, a portfolio would come off weird. An A+ shows that you have entry-level skills. Employers aren't expecting much from you at first. Who told you needed a portfolio, Joshua? I'm going to disagree with that. I think you really want to impress a new employee, a new potential employer, wear a tie. That'd blow their doors off.
Yeah, so, but a little bit later, Joshua posted about doing some things on GitHub. I think he probably has some programming skills and some programming projects that he's done. So using that as a portfolio, that's not going to go far in A+. That's coding and being a tech are two radically different fields. Although coding as a tech gives you a leg up on...
I would say if somebody was... It would just be depending on what the job was. You know, if I'm expecting you to get in a van and you're going to be, running anti-malware and snapping in RAM into machines, and you show me a portfolio of all these websites you've built, I'm going to be like, why are you taking this job?
Right.
Now, if this job includes coding or supporting a web app or something like that, then I could see it.
Sure.
But it would really depend on what you're looking for. Techno Viking. It was Techno Viking. Here, I'm going to pull it up for you on the side.
No,
Go ahead and look for the next.
Be very afraid. So Nicholas Pratt said that Total Tester helped me so much for A+ that I'll pay full price for network tests. Yeah, it's Total Tester, the practice test, whether it's practice tests from us, practice tests from our competitors. These are essential tools for getting your certification and getting the knowledge down cold.
Absolutely. Look at that, Scott. He's even got his own
Wikipedia article?
Someone's got his own Wikipedia article. Techno Viking.
Don't put that up. Take that off the screen, please.
Why? Oh, good Lord.
So, Dave Rush, you know which timestamp 3:45, you know what to cut out.
I don't understand what that means.
We bleep you. But we can also bleep a piece of the screen. Just to keep it.
If it's in Wikipedia.
Okay. So, guess who's the political correctness officer at Total Seminars?
Oh God! All right, everybody got quiet too. Like, ooh. Oh, that's hilarious. All right. Well, guys, it looks like we're wrapping up again here. Yeah, Nigel's already like, let's head over to Discord. Techno Viking, Mike, I know of you because of MedCerts. Yep, which is a company I took my A+, though I really enjoyed your course. And my wife just finished. Do you have any other courses after Security Plus? That's all I got right now is Security Plus. I really treat myself as the entry-level guy. Now, Total Seminars, my company, we have lots of other folks come in with a broad cross-section of products. Just head over to totalsem.com and check it out.
Yep.
For
CYSA Plus, Pentest Plus,
Cloud
Plus, AWS.
Yep, we got plenty of stuff in there. Tech Viking, solely CompTIA? Pretty much solely CompTIA at this point in the game, yes. Choco Taco type sysinternals. Joshua M., any advice on questions to pose an employer when an interview for IT help desk support job? Yeah, Joshua, the biggest question I would have is ask them, I'd say, what kind of knowledgeware are you using? I would ask them, you want to research this help desk company, where are their locations? Here's the one I always love. Do you promote from inside the company? That's another one they always like. In my opinion, whoever talks the most in an interview loses. So if you can get the interviewer to start talking about his company, that's always a good idea. Tech Viking, I think you and Professor Messer are like the Rolling Stones and the Beatles. Yeah, I'm the Rolling Stones.
Yeah, and we'd throw, Jason Dion in as the Who?
She's going to smash their guitars into the... There we go. All right, well, listen. All right, so guys, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Folks, don't forget this Friday, we're going to have Dave Rush. We'll be on at 2 o'clock right here talking about gaming under Raspberry Pis. And I will be back in on Monday. And don't forget the Discord channel. So I think that's got it all wrapped, huh, Scott?
I think so.
All right, well, let's get out of here then, man.
Hold on. Type one last thing.
There we go.
All right.
Let's just rock and roll on it, okay?
Okay.
All right, you guys ready? All right. We're out of here, guys. So until then, we'll talk to you on Mondays. Bye-bye. Bye.